It's very bad to steal Joe Bourgeon. It's very bad. I'm Liam, he's Rob, and for the fourth and final part of our American Sports Season of Movie podcast, we look back at, well, let's be clear here, one of the greatest baseball movies ever made. 1989's Major League might demand a tad more knowledge than your average sports movie, but even if you don't know your squeeze plays from your sacrifice flies, there is still much to enjoy here thanks to its fantastic cast, largely brilliant script, and unmatched experience of following a team for an entire baseball season. Okay, we don't get to see the Indians play October baseball, but when the AL East Championship finale is exciting as this, who really cares? Now, Rob, I didn't have a huge attachment to this movie going into it, and honestly, I'm not sure why, because I know this is my choice, but this was my choice on a technicality. Really, this was the reason we're watching this is because of you. I would have picked a whole bunch of baseball movies ahead of this, and that's not to belittle this film. I actually think of all the sports movie genres, baseball is the best served. There's tons of really great baseball movies. But I watched this movie a long time ago. I remember liking it. I haven't watched it since. Watched it yesterday, and I was like, God damn, this movie's really good.
Oh, this movie's great. We've said it many times, from Bob Uecker's play-by-play calls to
awesome.
The cast. They're absolutely fantastic. This entire film is such a fun ride. It is, and it's so bright and colorful, and it just looks great. Tom Berenger's fantastic in it. You know, Wesley
Tom Berenger,
an
actor. I feel like Tom Berenger is one of those actors where you'll end up describing his back catalogue so much better than I ever could. But Tom Berenger feels like a Rob actor, if ever there was one.
You know, Tom Berenger from The Substitute. From Sniper 1, Sniper 2, Sniper Legacy, Sniper Reloaded. You know, just
what did we haven't set this up, by the way. I just knew for a fucking fact that you would know like every Tom Berenger movie. I knew The Substitute is the one movie you brought up in this podcast a few times. I remember seeing it a long time ago. I don't think my brain would have recalled it in any way if you hadn't brought it up. But Tom
Berenger,
I really like him in this film. Sorry.
He plays the old guy, like the old copper in Training Day. Just sat at old. I mean, that was in 2000, but he's that guy now. He's not the action star, or never was an action star. He's not the main star anymore. He's just guy in background.
Weird you say that, because growing up and obviously like looking back on this film, and I couldn't remember, I remember the broad strokes of this movie. And my immediate thought was, oh, well, this is Charlie Sheen's movie, but with a big cast, a big supporting cast. Upon rewatching it, I'm like, this is Berenger's movie. I'm convinced of it. It's not Charlie Sheen's movie. Don't get me wrong. This is, and when we've gone back and covered the other sports movies, we did Hoosiers, The Replacements, and Mighty Ducks. Each of those movies, to one extent or another, suffer from the fact that the emphasis was on like a character, usually the coach, and then everything else kind of fell by the wayside. This movie really is the very epitome of an ensemble. Like everybody gets their moment. And the really smart thing it does for those kind of like characters who don't get any narrative arc. I'm talking about like, he's back again. He was in Charlie Ross. Chelsea Ross. For instance, like he doesn't have a character arc. He just has shtick. Like him and I'm forgetting all the names. Are ridiculous. Dennis Haysbert. Haysbert, thank you. Like their whole shtick is like some kind of like kind of, I don't know what you'd call it. I was going to call it racial interaction. It's not that.
It's a holy war. It's a holy war.
Yeah, I didn't want to use the term holy war, but let's go with that.
It's a holy war.
It's a holy war. My apologies. It's a holy war. I was going to say religious misunderstanding. But neither of those characters have any real arc, but they just give them enough shtick so they stand out, and then they put the emphasis on maybe like 5 or 6 characters. I was going to you mentioned Bob Uecker already. Bob Uecker is arguably like the 5th lead for this film, which is insane.
He is the GOAT in this film. I'll give you that.
The GOAT of commentators.
There's no character arc for for Dennis Haysbert Serrano. We already said it last week with Orlando Jones's what was his name in that film? In The Replacements?
I can't remember. I can hardly remember the names of the characters in this movie, and I literally just watched it.
Clifford Franklin. For some reason, they've kept him on, and because he's fast, but it doesn't matter if he's fast because he can't catch. He has one catch, all of a sudden he's the best guy on the team. they've kept Serrano on. Serrano's not hitting. As soon as everybody knew Serrano can't hit a curveball, everyone's from. So why are they keeping him on? He's not the best catcher in the world. But it gets to the
No.
point right at the end where he hits the ball. All of a sudden, everybody loves him, and it's just like I don't know the end game. Oh, don't get me started on the fact I found out they play 162 games a season.
Oh yeah, baseball's absolutely insane. Like don't get me wrong, I love baseball. I mean, I literally watch baseball every day because on TNT Sports over here, there's just like a highlights package. They pick like
Yeah.
the 5 of the best games from the previous day and show you like 10 minutes highlights of each game. There's baseball every day. Like teams go on the road, they play like sometimes they play twice in a day, which is absolutely insane. But to bring it back to that point, it is a proper team sport cliche. The whole idea of like a load of uniquely talented players with unique shortcomings. Like they really do play up to that at the start. They are absolutely useless. Like, oh, he can throw really hard, but he doesn't have control over his pitch. Like you said, he can hit the fastball, but he can't hit the curve. Blah, blah, blah. You go all the way down the list and they're all really good at something, but they're not good at something else. Or if you can just iron out the kinks, they might be a great team. What makes this movie work and I think stand out from others is the aforementioned. I know you mentioned like a baseball season's insane, 165 games. Again, to compare it to other films we've covered, the narrative and the story emphasis gets moved over to a character, and then all of a sudden you get thrown into a point in the season. You're like, wait, is this the end of the season already? And all of a sudden everything gets rushed through. Here, because ultimately the narrative arc, rather than following a specific character, is just following this team from tryouts to spring training to the entire season, right up until the last day, the last day of the AL East.
Yeah.
You feel like you're going on that journey with them, and you feel like you've spent a period of time with this clubhouse above all else. So rather than being like, oh, I spent time with this person, I feel like I've spent time with a team, which I'm not sure if many movies have captured as well as they do in Major League.
Major League gave me the classic. I thought this always happened, but apparently it's from the sequel thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Whole bunch of
Randy
those.
Quaid. To me, Randy Quaid was one of the three fans. And he is in the second one. He's the forever optimist. Oh, we'll get better. We'll get better. Then he hates them, and then when Wild Things. And I always thought he was in this one, but he replaces the guy in the middle of
Okay,
the three Indian fans. You know, you've got the one walking away because the other guy said the home run was too high.
yeah.
Yeah, and the friend in the middle for some reason got replaced by Randy Quaid for the second one. And the other thing was as
If you
well.
can get Randy Quaid, you get fucking Randy Quaid. You know what can you do?
The other thing was Vaughn being more of badass, like having his vest on when he comes to the mound, things like that. You don't really see that.
It's very like I
Yeah.
thought the whole Wild thing was something that runs throughout the film, but
Yeah.
it really is. And I think that's one of the reasons that when I was talking about this being Charlie Sheen's movie rather than Berenger's movie, like in my brain, Tom Berenger that is because of that moment, because that moment is so iconic. Like him walking out to the fireworks, to the Wild thing, and everyone chanting the song.
Yeah.
That is to this film what the home run is at the end of The Natural is to that movie, for instance. That's the scene that everybody remembers. I actually mentioned to one of the guys in work, I said, oh, we're covering Wild Things. And he immediately started singing the song. He's like, oh, I love that moment. Everyone remembers that moment. And I think that scene almost steals the move away from Berenger. But like you said, it's not him for most of the film. Yeah, he's wearing the earring and stuff like that. But then if you watch the sequel, they obviously, that became a thing, didn't it? The Wild Thing. That's what everyone remembers this movie for. They start playing that song within 3 minutes of the sequel starting. Of like, oh, he's showing up to spring training, so everybody on the side's waiting for him, all of his fans, and they put the song on, and it's not him, blah blah blah. But all of a sudden, it's kind of like littered all the way through the second movie because it was a thing, and maybe that's why the second movie isn't as good as the first. But in this movie, yeah, to your point, I thought, he's always going to have the short sleeves. Like, if anything, he has the short sleeves. Early doors, he's told you can't do that, and for the rest of the movie, as far as baseball is concerned, he's just wearing glasses. That's kind of it.
But he does wear the short sleeves, especially when they do the American Express advert. He's got the short sleeve tuxedo on. And when they all put their hats on, for some reason, he fakes putting a hat on. But it seems really weird that he's faking putting a hat on when he does wear the hat during the games anyway. So I don't understand why you're not putting a hat on during the advert. It's not like that's your thing.
I mean, I like I like his shtick in this film, and although I got one question to ask you just before I get into his look, which is of its time, and I'm still not quite sure what he was going for the haircut. Like, is the haircut awesome or the worst haircut ever? It's somewhere in between. I can't quite make up my mind. But the start, you have that sequence where Tom Berenger is in bed with a bunch of women, and I actually thought that was going to be Charlie Sheen because that feels like a Charlie Sheen moment. I said, "Oh, it's Berenger," but then of course they cut away, and Charlie Sheen's in prison. I'm like, "Oh, that checks out as well." How does Charlie Sheen get out of prison to play baseball? I must have missed that bit.
They don't actually say it. I think it's just
okay. I
it's
feel
funny
better
because
about that.
he says I might not be able to make it, but then I don't know, maybe it turns out he had a magic parole or something. I really don't know.
A well-timed
like,
as long as it wasn't explained, I just had missed it. That's all.
They try and move on and hope you don't go back to it. Because the other thing they do in this film, and I'm jumping straight into the love angle, which again doesn't work for sports films, is the fact that Rene Russo seems to live in places that don't need locks. Like,
it's a good point. I just want to defend it. Like, love stories can work in sports movies if that sports movie is called Bull Durham. It totally works in
okay,
that.
Yeah.
And the reason it works to one extent or another in this, like so much, is that it's just kind of like on the side. It's such a small part of the movie, and it relies completely on Rene Russo and Tom Berenger having chemistry. Luckily, they have tons of fucking.
They have chemistry. I just the whole thing, like, because he's back, he wants her now. Blah, blah, blah. But we'll get more into that. But he follows her to what he perceives as her house. He waits for a while. He goes and has a coffee. He comes over, and then he gets in the lift, goes straight to floor 6, comes out into her fiance's apartment. Okay, fine. Then that happens, blah blah blah. Then he sees her watching him play baseball. He follows her in the Mr. Pibb,
the bullpen car, which it used to be a real thing, by the way.
Yeah,
it used to be a genuine thing. It's a crime that they don't have the bullpen car anymore.
So he follows her in that. She's already gone in. She's gone in. She's gone upstairs. She's settled down. He walks into her living room and goes, "Whose house are we in now?" Is there no fucking locks on any of these houses?
Yeah, and let's be clear, like they're not living out in like, kind of small town where like they're living in Cleveland. I haven't been to Cleveland, but I get the impression you lock your motherfucking doors in Cleveland. It's a big city, got a bit of a reputation. The one thing I will say though is I totally forgot Rene Russo is in this film, and she suffered from this in her career to a certain extent, that she's so good at playing the role that she plays in this movie that she, for the next 10 years, almost got exclusively airlifted in for these kind of roles. It's just like, oh, we need a love interest, but we need her to like pop off the screen, even if she doesn't have much to do. Rene Russo is fantastic at that because she's an amazing screen presence. She's a fantastic actress, and she can make a lot out of relatively limited material. She does that in this film. And again, it comes back to that chemistry that she has with Tom Berenger. I buy them, even though there's not a lot of dialogue to back it up. I totally buy them as being in a relationship previously, and the idea that they would still have something for each other now. But this was one of her first major movie roles, and she low-key had one of the great decades for a female lead or supporting actress, whatever you want to say. So she did this. She did Mr. Destiny, another movie linked to baseball, Free Jack, which some people may say is a stinker, but I think we might end up doing on this podcast.
Yeah.
Lethal Weapon 3, In the Line of Fire, Major League 2, Outbreak, Get Shorty, Tin Cup, Ransom, Lethal Weapon 4, and the Thomas Crown Affair. I'm like, that was like her first 10 years in Hollywood. I'm like, that's pretty fucking awesome. But you watch this film and you're like, oh yeah, she's just really good. And it almost made me think, I haven't seen Ransom in a long time. All I can remember from Ransom is they're like, give me back my son. And that's about it. And Gary Sinise being a bit of a dick. But that's me. That was one of those movies that has suffered from the whole Mel Gibson thing. It felt like Ransom was one of those movies that would have just been on ITV4 every couple of months, a nice safe bet. You showed it like 8, 9 p.m. because it's got a bit of an edge to it, but it's still, one of those movies you can watch with most of the family. Same with like What Women Want would be the kind of 6 p.m. romantic equivalent. But it's like they're just not showing Mel Gibson movies anymore, are they? And the world's a slightly worse place for it. Whatever you think about Mel Gibson as a person, his movies should be on TV more. That's for damn sure. Especially if Rene Russo's in them, by the way. Sorry, that was a very Rob-like aside, wasn't it? I do apologize.
Yeah, that was one hell of one. I wanted to say, if we're talking about the women, Suzanne Dawn, who hasn't done anything except this and one TV appearance,
wow,
she needs to wear her hair up more often. Like, it was fine when she answered the door and she's got her hair done, but when she dresses up to attract Wild Thing, no wonder he goes for her. Like, fucking
she has that kind of late 80s bombshell look. The only thing I'll say about Mrs. Dawn is I have no idea what the fuck was going on at the end of this movie. I was like, why? I mean, are we just to assume that she's fucking with Charlie Sheen, or fucking Charlie Sheen, if we're going to be blunt here? to get back at Roger because he's a dick. I got the impression at one point that she saw him kind of put his arm around a woman after they won a game. She saw that and she was just like, I'm going to fuck your pitcher.
He didn't put his arm around the woman. He took a woman upstairs.
Oh, I didn't get that. Like, was it that clearly implied?
She's watching them in the hotel, Cowabunga, like the you got the guy dressed up like an Indian, and they go into the pennant or whatever it is, and he's hugging this woman. He's not got his arm wrapped around her. He's hugging her. He's got his hand on her ass, and then he high fives a guy as they go into a back room. Now, I'm sorry, they're not going in there to share a cup of tea.
Fair play.
Okay.
Fair play.
So
I think I was still thinking about the Cowabunga line. I really that really caught me off. I was like, did he just say Cowabunga? I was like, oh, it's 1989. Cowabunga was a thing. So
she's not there, and obviously she's been hearing him bitch and moan about Veghead. Like, so she thought, oh, the best thing to do is to fuck the guy he actually hates on the team. And to be fair, for payback, it is the only other baller move that's and it's again related to Dawn is when what was the coach's name? Lou Brown. When Lou Brown pisses on Roger Dawn's contract. What do you think? I don't have to do any calisthenics. It's a baller move. It's like, this is what I think of your contract.
Absolutely great move. And it's a great introduction as him as a coach. He's, you obviously can't compare him to like Emilio Estevez in Mighty Ducks or Gene Hackman in Hoosiers because they're like a major part of this film. Like nearly everyone else in this film, he's a small cog in the larger machine. But he's fantastic in this film. James Gammon, isn't it?
James Gammon, yeah.
Yeah, he's like another one of those guys, like just a reminder that like in the late 80s, early 90s, these guys were just older. It's like he's not that much older than me in the grand scheme. I think he was like 49 when they made this. And you're just like, oh my God, that dude looks 70. Although, speaking of people who look old in movies, when I saw Chelsea Ross in this film, I was like, oh, Chelsea Ross again. After Hoosiers, he's back. I hadn't seen him in a film for a while. Now he's just all over the place. And I was like, wait, he's a fucking player in this film. Chelsea Ross was 46 when they made this, which one is depressing because that's only 3 years older than me. And the dude, I'm still convinced in my brain that dude in 1989 looks like he could be my dad now. But I'm like, I'm not having him as a baseball player, even back in the late 80s. And he's one of the few players, like the baseball in this film is really good. And I mentioned it in the intro. This movie kind of leans into like real baseball, like inside baseball stuff. Like, make no mistake, this movie ends on a suicide, not a suicide. What the hell is it called? A squeeze play. And it's not a suicide squeeze play. A suicide squeeze play is a different thing, but it ends on a squeeze play with a bunt. It's all very inside baseball. It's a million miles away from the natural. And, they even kind of play up to it. Tom Berenger doing the classic 1932 World Series Babe Ruth points and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But for the most part, the baseball is fantastic. And, Wesley Snipes, one of these like underrated sports actors. We talked about it in previous podcasts again with like Costner as being, and Keanu Reeves when we did The Replacements. They're great on screen and totally convincing as sportsmen. It's like Wesley Snipes belongs in that category. It's like he's awesome in this. Like the slide he makes at the end. It's just a slide, but it looks like a major league slide. But he was in The Fan, he was in this, he was in White Men Can't Jump. In all of them, he looked the part. I believed him as a sportsman. Chelsea Ross, however, when he's pitching in that final game, you're like, that is a 46-year-old man who's never played baseball pitching in this game. Yeah. It just looks bad. And it looks worse because everything else is so good. But what can you do?
You mean Wesley Snipes, who is not very skilled at baseball in real life, according to the director? He never played much before. Yeah. So Ward says Snipes was so awful at throwing a ball that they had no scenes of him throwing it. You see him run and you see him hit, but there's no scenes of him throwing the ball.
He does that great catch. And again, that's the Chelsea scene when he's pitching. I was just like, man, that's a terrible pitch. But then they cut to Wesley Snipes making stealing away a home run by, bouncing off the wall. And you're just like, okay, he's an athlete. I don't actually think, I don't think he was necessarily the greatest basketball player either. Like, he's decent.
Yeah.
I think he gets away with it in White Men Can't Jump, again, because he's an athlete. But when you see them play, you're like, no, Woody Harrelson's the baller.
Yeah.
Wesley Snipes is the athlete.
I wonder as well how much Chelsea Ross actually stunk. If he's putting all that stuff on his body to help him with the ball. He's got bloody lard down one thing. He's got butter under his armpit. He's
drinking
jalapenos up his nose, apparently. He's drinking rum.
That's one of my favorite lines in the movie. Up your bum, Jobu. It's just like, what kind of fucking movie is this? Like you said,
it's funny because Sorry, the ADR after it as well. Hey, bartender, Joe Boo needs a refill. And then a baseball bat smacks him on the back of
Ridiculous.
the head.
Actually, just before we move on, speaking of people who are convincing in sports movies, Charlie Sheen, who had, I think the previous year made Eight Men Out, the story about the 1919 White Sox scandal, I think it was.
Yeah, Shoeless Joe and his friends.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You watch him in this film, you're like, oh, he can pitch. He can fucking pitch. And supposedly he got up to like 85 miles per hour. So yeah, Charlie Sheen was a proper pitcher in this film. And there's no way of hiding that.
He's admitted as well to taking steroids for this film. Like, all
Yeah,
right,
it
it's a
shows on
film
screen.
role, dude. Like, Jesus.
Well, it's paid that is sorry, Karen.
Oh, sorry. But yeah, he was a high school pitcher, wasn't he? He was offered a baseball scholarship, I think, to the University of Kansas.
Well,
And
it totally shows on screen.
in order to so in the movie, he threw 101 mile per hour fastball, which
Okay.
they were able to speed up because he hit in the high 80s. He threw in the high 80s.
Oh, so yeah, you only have to kind of
yeah.
like nudge it up kind of thing in post,
Yeah.
I suppose. Which brings me, I guess, the biggest question before we get into the finer details of the rest of the film is, because you picked this film, and I mentioned the fact that the baseball genre, let's call it that, is somewhat rich compared. Certainly, there's some great football films, American football films, there's basketball films, all that jazz. I still think baseball is arguably got the greatest collection of sports movies, unless you can make an argument for boxing, I suppose.
Yeah.
But how highly does this rank for you? Because upon rewatching it, I've got it just like at the top of the second tier. So the kind of ones that immediately jumped out were Bull Durham, A League of Their Own, Pride of the Yankees, which if you don't know that, that's Gary Cooper played Lou Gehrig, and that was in 1942, not long after the actual the whole Lou Gehrig story happened. Field of Dreams, Eight Men Out, Moneyball, The Natural, The Sandlot. Everybody Wants Some, which I suspect a lot of people won't have heard of that. Richard Linklater's, I would go as far to say it is a modern classic. It's from 2016. The cast has become a who's who of that dude, a bunch of famous people. And it's one of those wonderful films that is about college baseball. It's about college, and it's also kind of about nothing. It's like the ultimate vibes movie. And I'd say it's one of my favorite sports movies of the last 10 years. And we mention it on most podcasts. It might not be a fantastic film, but we both love Mr. Baseball. So
Mr. Baseball's great, yeah.
I would probably have Bull Durham, Field of Dreams, and I know you're not such a fan, but maybe like The Sandlot in that kind of top tier, and then this just below it alongside the likes of Moneyball, I'd say.
So I'm trying to find this film. I mean, can we give an honorable mention?
You're going to have a really obscure baseball film I haven't thought of here, aren't you?
Yeah, I have, because you haven't said it. But can we give an honorable mention while I'm looking for it to Hardball?
Oh yeah, no, that's a good shout.
Yeah.
That's a good shout. Yeah,
I love Hardball with Keanu Reeves. We could have done that one as well in this, but I don't. That's the only film that made me shed a tear.
Really, Hardball.
Ever.
All the movies.
When G Baby cries, lump in my throat, tear down my cheek.
In fucking sane. Of all the movies you've watched, that's the only one that's made you tear up. Is Hardball, starring Keanu Reeves.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll have to revisit it. Who knows? Like you said, maybe one day on the podcast.
But I wouldn't you mentioned Moneyball. I don't know, unless they're actually playing baseball properly and it's not all the things behind the scene. Because another honorable mention you'd have to give to Trouble with the Curve. I really enjoyed Trouble with the Curve. I think that's a great, great film.
Show, yeah.
I was a big fan of The Rookie, not Rookie of the Year, Rookie with Rookie. Dennis Quaid.
$1 Million Arm was okay. That was
$1 Million Arm was okay. Yeah, I'm just biding time while I try and find this because I got to go through such a backwards way to find this film. I got to find the one actor who played a kid in Jurassic Park to go to the film he directed.
Oh, well, I mean, it's amazing. They've got so many details about this film, but you don't have the name of it, which is actually, it's like, well, I've got to look up the grip for this film and then work backwards from the grip and the executive producer. And
directed by Joseph Mazzello, who played the kid in Jurassic Park, right? Yeah. It's called Undrafted, and it's basically about a game of baseball, the last beer league game, but they're playing it, and their friend, who everyone expected to get drafted into the major leagues, doesn't get called up. But he shows up. They didn't expect him to show up to play this game, and he shows up to play this game. And it's such a good film. Tyler Hoechlin is in it, who played Superman, the Superman TV show, but he's also in your Everybody Wants Some.
Yeah.
Philip Winchester, Jim Belushi. It's not a major, but it's not a major who's who of actors.
Mhm.
But it's such a good film. If you could find this film, I would like. I watched it like 2 o'clock on a Friday night, Saturday morning once, and
Mhm.
I fucking loved it.
Speaking
Absolutely
of
loved it.
which, of being able to find these movies, this is a relatively new baseball movie, and I've heard nothing but good things about it. It's called EePhus, and maybe that's one of the reasons it hasn't kind of crossed over. Like, and that's spelled EePhus. Now, you just can't watch it anywhere over here. But you do have a Magic TV, so I hear. So
Yeah.
maybe you could watch it and report back. It's 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
What's it called? Sorry.
EePhus. So that's EePhus. I'm not sure. I think it's pronounced ephus. In Hebrew, the word ephus can be loosely translated into nothing, and the word ephus undoubtedly stems from that. Sure. I don't know what exactly that has to do with baseball, but I've heard nothing, like I said, nothing but good things, but I just can't watch that bloody movie. So, yeah, you're going to have to watch it for me and record it on your phone, perhaps. I don't know.
I'll give it a go.
Yeah.
I'll see if it's on the, as you said, Magic TV.
But yeah, sorry, to come back to the original question. And so does Major League make your kind of top three then?
Major League does, yeah. I would put Undrafted up there probably as the third. I'd put for me, Major League would be number one. I love Major League. I think it's great.
I've heard that it's very much a baseball players movie, that a lot of baseball players, like, this would be their number one movie. And when you watch it, you're like, I totally get it. Because, like I said, it really is selling you on this is what it's like to be it's exaggerated for sure, but this is what it's like to be a baseball player starting with spring training all the way through the season, And it's just like, I'm sure if you're a player, there is some character or elements of this film which you could attach yourself to.
I mean, I got to go just because we haven't said it. I got to go for like Bad News Bears, I think.
Oh, yeah. I totally should have mentioned that. Yeah.
I mean, we're not mentioning Ed, starring Matt LeBlanc, where he teamed up with a baseball player monkey, are we?
No, we're probably not going to mention that one, in fairness. Okay. I don't think that's going to quite nudge Field of Dreams off the top of my list. Well, no, Field of Dreams would be top of my list. I absolutely.
Oh, and the other one, the Disney one I loved as a kid, was it? Matthew McConaughey was randomly in it. Angels in the.
Oh, Angels in the Infield. It was a remake of I can't remember who was in the original, but it had Christopher Lloyd and
Danny Glover. Sorry,
Glover.
Outfield. Infield was the third film in the series.
Oh, my apologies.
You had Angels in the Outfield, Angels in the End Zone, and Angels in the Infield.
Actually makes me think, because the Angels was an expansion team. They were also in Anaheim like the Ducks. Were they created much like the Ducks were? I.e., the Ducks were a thing in the movies, clearly with this idea of kind of, pushing these things out into, I'm not sure if like they already had a plan to potentially create an NHL, an NHL expansion team with the Ducks, but the movie came first, and then you got the Ducks of Anaheim. The Angels, I think they might have been around longer than that, but the Angels, they're in a Disney film. It's Anaheim again. Is it a coincidence?
Yeah, it's a coincidence. So I think they've been.
The Angels have been around for a lot longer, right?
They've been playing in Angel Stadium since '66.
Yeah,
I think they were founded. Yeah, they were founded in '61.
Okay.
I mean, Angels in the Outfield. Well, you said it's a remake, mind. Angels in the Outfield. Oh, maybe I'm not too sure. The remake was 1994, but the original was 1951.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So there might be something to that, but yeah, very crafty. It is interesting that of all the weeks we would choose to cover Major League, it's the week that the whole Cleveland Indians thing is totally back in the press because of Donald Trump. Now, Donald Trump is clearly just trying to take emphasis away from the whole Epstein thing. But there is a whole interesting conversation about, it was like, 4 or 5 years ago, so it was the Cleveland Indians and the Washington Redskins both changed their names to the Cleveland Guardians and the Washington Commanders after they were, the Cleveland Commanders and the Washington Guardians. Am I mixing that up? Washington Commanders, Cleveland Guardians. Totally mixing those up. And I think they're completely generic names. And I was talking to my friend about that, and I was just like, I got the Redskins thing because to my mind, that sounds like a racial slur.
Yeah.
But then you see the badge, and the badge to me looked pretty respectable, with a picture of a Native American. I was just like, I don't think that's too bad. But I was like, all right, but the name, whatever. And then I was like, well, what's the matter with the Cleveland Indians? I was like, the Indians, cowboys and Indians, blah, blah, blah. Is that enough to really get rid of the name? And then I just totally forgot about Chief Wahoo. And then you see the imagery of Chief Wahoo, and you're like, yeah, it's a little bit racist, isn't it? I mean maybe they'll both come back now. Who knows? But
you got the three white guys in front of a teepee banging a drum, doing war cries.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, yeah.
whilst they're in war paint.
Well, it's
So
weird because if you go and watch, if you watch like the Atlanta Braves play, they do the whoa, and they do, the arm movement
yeah,
and all that jazz. But I guess it's just not as egregious. And I guess it's state to state. But yeah, I kind of settled on the idea that the Washington Redskins, acceptable badge, possibly not acceptable name. Cleveland Indians, fine, perfectly decent name, possibly rate. Like what they should do if they want to find a middle ground, rebrand themselves back to the Cleveland Indians, do away with Chief Wahoo, and use the fucking Major League logo. Everyone associates the Major League logo with the
yeah.
Cleveland Indians, and I'm not sure if you've noticed, it's fucking awesome.
I love it. I love it. You got
I
the feathers
love
on the
it.
back. You got the glasses. You got the mohawk. I think it's a great.
Yeah, like so. If I was trying to sell them on like a middle ground, I was like, all right, we'll be called the Cleveland Indians again. We'll do away with Chief Wahoo, and we're just gonna have the Major League symbol because everyone associates it with the team. I'm sure there are people from fucking Cleveland going, "Fuck you, that doesn't make any sense." From an outsider's perspective, I look at it, I'm just like, that would be so cool if they had a new jersey. Like I've got like a bunch of Cleveland Guardian jerseys, but if they came out with like a Cleveland Indians, like Major League jersey, fuck me, man. I'm totally buying that jersey. But anyway, moving on.
Going back, you said as well about like not being acceptable and everything like that, and like from the 80s, we've had blackface and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
What ethnicity is Tom Berenger? Is he just very tan because he's come from Mexico, or
I
is
think
he?
so.
Have they made him like I don't know, look a little bit Mexican?
I'm amazed after that build-up. You went after Tom Berenger. I was like, well, clearly he's going to go for Dennis Haysbert as Pedro Serrano. And don't get me wrong, I'm of the mindset that voodoo isn't in enough movies nowadays. I'm all for bringing back voodoo, but the whole thing about him being from like South America, and there's like a huge, there's a huge number of South American players in MLB from like the Dominican Republic and all that. I'm not sure exactly what country he's supposed to be from, but it's going to be one of those northern South American countries. That's a weird sentence, but I think it makes sense. But no, you're going to have to Tom Berenger because he's tanned. Tom Berenger is white as but he's white as fuck, dude. He is white.
You say you want to bring back there's not enough voodoo in films. Mm-hmm. You won't be saying that if you watch Steven Seagal's Marked for Death, which was actually released the year after this, 1990.
See, late 80s, early 90s, man, voodoo was everywhere. When was the last time that voodoo played a major part in a movie? I can't remember. Would it literally be The Princess and the Frog? And that was like 12 years ago. It just feels like voodoo was a thing in movies for a while. Like, remember, like Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, the little kid with the voodoo doll. All of that stuff was dope. Everyone loves voodoo.
Child's Play had voodoo. That was the whole point of it. He used voodoo to transfer his body. The Serpent and the Rainbow, Angel Heart.
Again, all of them late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah.
Voodoo used to be a thing and then it just kind of went away. I tell you what should have maybe gone away in this film. Well, I say that, right? For the movie to work, you need to have the whole classic plan of tanking a team to move to Miami. And you've got the evil owner in Margaret Whitten as Rachel Phelps.
Yeah.
You need it for the movie to work, but it is also without question the weakest part of the movie. It just, we've mentioned it time and again on when we've covered these sports movies, that so often to get the narrative where you need it to be, you need whether it be the benevolent owner or the evil owner to do something really dumb. And at the start, it's like, I get the idea. Like, there's even modern examples, like the Oakland A's. Like, they're currently playing in Sacramento. They're going to be moving to Vegas, and it's because of they wouldn't give them a new stadium. Vegas would, and then suddenly they're moving not across the country, but they're moving, a long way. And suddenly this team who's been in Oakland for decades and decades, won World Series there, are suddenly fucking off to Vegas. I think it's absolutely despicable, but it's part of American sport. It is what it is. That's, what they're going for here. It's like, oh, well, we'll tank the team and then we'll get our fancy new stadium in a new city, blah, blah, blah. Cool. That makes sense for like, I don't know, half the movie. Everything about, and don't get me wrong, Margaret Whitten is good in this film. Her character is a touch too broad, and the whole setup with her and her little underling, and she has like a fucking manservant standing on the side in the stadium. It's all a bit weird, but we'll go with it. At some point, she must have realized, well, clearly this plan hasn't worked. We're like 2 games away from making the playoffs. The stadium's full, and she's at the end still willing her team to lose. And I'm like, for what purpose? Like, what does she like? She's the owner. Like
Yeah.
at that point, she can't be like, oh well, if we don't make the playoffs, we can fuck off. Like they've clearly had an amazing season. They've captured the imagination of a city, dare I say, the country at this point. And she's just like, at that point, you're just like, well, I might as well get on board.
Well,
It's going to serve her well if a team make the playoffs.
we seem to be in the minority though, because I agree with you on that.
Mhm.
But test screenings didn't like her not being the bad guy because there
Yeah,
is a
I get
deleted
that.
scene.
Hmm.
There's a deleted scene where Lou Brown goes to quit,
Hmm.
and she said, and then she goes into this whole diatribe of, "I've always been a Cleveland Indians fan. That's the reason why I married my husband." Blah blah blah, yada yada yada. The only way for us to actually do something was to have someone to hate. Hello.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
she apparently she did it all to make
Inspire
the
the
Cleveland
team.
Indians, yeah, to inspire the team.
Got you. Got you.
But I don't want to say American audiences. I don't want to just label them into it. But test screenings, which is probably American,
Hmm.
we're all like, no, we don't like that. Make it a bad guy. So that's why you don't get that. That's why you just get that really
Okay, fair enough.
weird ending of she still wants to just be. She still wants them to lose, even though it's not going to help her plan.
Yeah, because that's the
Yeah,
thing. It like that is the problem, and that does make a lot more sense now that there was a deleted scene where she kind of gets back on board and she's just like, oh, it was a desperation move, blah blah blah. But yeah, because you've removed that from the film, by the final sequence when she still wants them to lose, you're just like, this doesn't make any sense. It does not make a lick of fucking
yeah,
sense. And by that point, it doesn't really matter because the emphasis has moved away from her completely to the team. Although I must ask, when she tells when the coach finds out that what she's trying to do, why she's brought this team together, blah blah blah. I love the fact that he gives let's be clear, a relatively low key speech.
yeah,
And even it's just like, Tom Brady just stands up. There's no like hoorah. He's just like, let's win the whole fucking thing. And everyone just goes, yeah, let's fucking do this. And there's no like I watched Formula One on the weekend, and Formula One, the movie, was largely very good, looks amazing to respect. There are a few moments of like 80s style hoorah, which feels so out of place in the movie and is like toe curlingly cheesy. This movie, despite the fact that it was made in the 80s, largely avoids those. And that's one of those moments where it's just like, fuck that bitch, we're just going to win. And everyone just kind of gets on board. You're like, yeah, that
yeah.
feels like a real kind of clubhouse. But right after they have that moment, somebody just appears with a cardboard cutout of her nude. And I'm like, where the fuck did they find that?
Well, she's an ex-showgirl.
Oh, is that a thing? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. At the
Oh,
beginning,
geez,
there,
sorry, I'm
she
missing
reads
obvious things. My apologies.
she reads the paper and after he dies. It's like the billionaire socialite ex wife, playgirl, showgirl. I don't even know what they said,
Oh,
but
I
they do
got you. I
call her an
got
ex
you.
showgirl. So her out there being, I guess, nearly
Semi-nude.
down to the skin
Hmm.
is available. She's an ex showgirl. So
Fair enough. Fair enough. I
yeah,
must have missed that, and I do apologize. Well, thank you for explaining it to both well, not to our listeners. They probably know exactly what it is. As soon as I was talking about it, probably this guy's talking absolute shit. He's
you
just
need to
missed
you
something
need to
really
finish
obvious.
that as well because you went both our listeners. Like
Both
we've
our
got Jerry
listeners.
and Steve that are listening at the moment.
Jerry, listen, Steve might forgive me. Jerry is going to be absolutely
Yeah.
fucking furious. I'll tell you that much. But yeah, it's again, I simply forgot that Snipes was in this movie. Like I was genuinely surprised. I
Yeah.
was like, oh yeah, fucking Snipes was in this movie. I
So
love his
I always
name, like Willie Mays Hayes. Like for
Willie
those who
Mays
don't
Hayes.
know, Willie Mays is like he broke the home run record back in like the late 70s for the Atlanta Braves. And Bob Hayes was an Olympic gold medal sprinter who also played for the Dallas Cowboys. It's like calling yourself Shohei Ohtani Bolt now.
I mean,
It's an absolutely ridiculous name.
thank you for explaining that to me and both our listeners
Mhm.
because I never got the I hit like Mays and run like Hayes
Yeah,
shtick.
yeah,
He
yeah.
says I understood hit like Mays. Why was he running like? And obviously, and I did love her at the end when he goes, "Well, you may run like Hayes, but you hit like shit."
Well, it sounds like he
Yeah,
actually hit like shit. And
yeah,
that is one of those things I don't think you can, especially as an adult, like you can either throw or you can't. When you just see some people and you're just like, you can't throw. And I don't want to be judgmental because if you want to know what it feels like, try and throw with your left arm if you're right-handed. And suddenly everything just feels awkward and weird. And you're just like, well, that just must be them for just both arms. But some people, especially if you're in a baseball movie, if you can't throw, simply do not show it on screen. Like that's it. And they've obviously just
yeah.
shot around it very smartly and been like, well, he's pretty good at running, so we'll just have him run a lot. And that's absolutely fine. But yeah. But like you said, other than that, I think everyone's great in this film.
Yeah, it's such a great cast. I mean, there are ones that let you down. I'm not a huge fan of the Holy War. We said what was his name Chelsea in that he can be a bit of a dick. I'm not a huge
Yeah, but he's not
yeah.
in it too much. It's
No,
fine.
no, he's in it,
Yeah.
and I'm not huge on Corbin Burnson. Like his whole
Mhm.
character arc is just it's not for me.
He's, I guess, like maybe you just need like a bit of a dickhead in the movie. I think he's worth having just to have him get absolutely lit up by Tom Berenger. So when Tom Berenger, it's one of those like team moments. Like he just
Yeah,
has to be enough of a dick, and he's pretty good at being a dick. So when he shows up at his house and he's just like, "If you fuck over this team again, I'm going to feed you your own balls." He doesn't say that, but something along those lines. And when you see him, like Tom Berenger is such a likable screen presence, but when he like gives somebody a dressing down, you're just like, yeah, I wouldn't want to be on the wrong side of Tom Berenger. I bet
yeah.
you he can fucking handle himself. He just looks like he can fight. There's a
He was a
reason he's in a
beast.
bunch of B movies. Like, well, like Sniper is an action movie. I assume it's called fucking Sniper for heaven's sake.
Have you
I'm
not
assuming
seen any of this? Have you not seen Sniper One?
I've not seen Sniper anything.
So Sniper is with I lit up when you said this. I've been feeling ill all
Yeah,
day. I
yeah.
lit
Here we
up.
go.
So Sniper has Billy Zane in it as well, right?
Well, yeah,
And
you had me at Billy Zane. I'm on
yeah,
board.
so like Tom Berenger plays the I think it's set during the Vietnam War. Uh maybe it's I can't remember. But anyway, Tom Berenger plays the grizzled sniper
Mhm,
and Billy Zane plays the guy who's going to come in to take over and then they've got to go out and do a sniping mission.
mhm.
But this gave us the trope. I'm pretty sure it's this film gave us the trope of killing somebody through the scope,
Oh, like shooting through the scope into right.
shooting through the
Well,
scope.
there's
Yeah,
there's like a whole video game based on it. Like the Sniper Elite series is basically a whole array of those kind of shots, isn't it? Only it's either you go through the scope and shoot in the eye, or I keep seeing clips of people getting shot in the dick.
yeah.
Like they
But
do X-ray shots, don't they?
Sniper has got to be. I mean, it outdoes because it's got to be so cheap to make. It
Mhm.
outdoes Tremors
What in terms of sequels?
in terms of sequels.
No
So
fucking way.
you've got Sniper from 1993, and then that's it. Nobody cared. Then 2002, Sniper 2. You
Oh, so
bring
there was a
Berenger back.
long break between
Yeah,
Sniper and
yeah.
Sniper 2. Yeah, yeah.
2002, you bring Berenger back. Sniper 3, again, Berenger. Sniper Reloaded, I think the guy's name is Chad Michael Collins, right? And this was in 2011, right?
Mhm.
Chad Michael Collins comes back to team up with Billy Zane and Tom Berenger, rocks up.
Oh, so they're
Sniper
both
Legacy
back in
in
both
that
Billy
one, yeah,
Zane and
yeah.
yeah,
And halfway
awesome.
halfway through this, Serrano shows up as well, just to help
Yeah,
you
yeah.
right when he's. But yeah, so Sniper Reload, then Sniper Legacy in 2014, then Sniper Ghost Shooter in 2016. Now these are all, by the way, Chad Michael Collins. This guy is
Serrano, sorry, you just doing Serrano. So Dennis Haysbert's in these movies as well.
Dennis Haysbert is in some of these, yeah.
All right, fantastic.
Uh,
Yeah.
so sorry, Sniper Reloaded, Sniper Legacy, Sniper Ghost Shooter in 2016, Sniper Ultimate Kill in 2017, Sniper Assassin's End in 2020, Sniper Rogue Mission in 2022, Sniper Grit, Global Response and Intelligence Team, that's the title,
Fuck.
in 2023. And as of January 21st, 2025, Sniper The Last Stand. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 Sniper films.
Shit. So the Sniper movies are ahead of Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
There's more Sniper. Like, honestly, if you'd asked me to
Really?
bet on how many movies, like, I would have said, like, there was, like, I usually say four because I'm like, I can imagine three, but there's always a fourth one I couldn't even think of. 11? And I love the fact that like there wasn't one for 10 years, then there was like a couple, and then suddenly, for inexplicable reasons, around 2016, the series hit overdrive after like the fifth movie. Like, oh, we're making one a year. We're just going sniper fucking crazy.
They must be cheap to make. And that's all because Berenger was in
How many
three,
was
four,
Berenger in?
five, six. Berenger was in six.
God damn. I
Yeah.
usually you're like, all right, Berenger's in like maybe two, not six.
No,
How many was
Berenger's
fucking
Billy
Billy
Zane
Zane
was
in?
in four.
Fuck me. This is an
Yeah.
eye opener. This is
Chad
this is what
Michael
people
Collins.
really listen to this podcast for.
Chad
Fuck
Michael
Major
Collins
League.
was in
The Sniper series.
8 of them. He's been in all of them since 2011. Like this
Amazing.
again, I've said it 3 times. They just must be cheap to make. Give a guy a sniper rifle and just say there's a bad sniper over there. Go get him. That's
I guess
basically. And
so.
to be fair, I haven't seen them all. I have seen a lot of them. I've seen the
The thing
original
is,
three with Berenger.
there's something inherently in like tense and like very watch. It's like even in video games, like you think of like one of the most memorable boss fights in video game history is from Metal Gear Solid 3, where it's a
Yeah.
sniper battle. and it can take for fucking ever. I mean, it can also be skipped if you shoot the old dude earlier in the game with your own sniper rifle. But when you're playing the game, it's like you get into the sniper battle and it can last for a long ass time, but it's super intense. I'm not sure if it's intense to the sound with 11 movies, but Jesus Christ. Like, just out of interest, have you got them in front of you?
Have you?
All right. What are the IMDb scores? I have to, like, does it like fall off a cliff after like the third one?
Oh, now you're asking.
Yeah, sorry, that's a big question. But
No.
I have
So
to know.
okay,
We've gone down this rabbit hole together now. We're here.
dude, I love the fact people come to listen to Major League, and we're now going deep into Sniper.
This is what happens. They must have known it could happen. Listen, I knew at the top of the podcast. I said Tom Berenger. I was like, that feels like catnip for Rob. I was like, we're gonna end up talking about fucking The Substitute or Sniper. I just didn't know the Sniper well was quite so fucking deep.
So Sniper 1 was 6.1.
Yes, yeah, that checks.
Sniper 2 was 5.2.
Yeah, this is going the right direction.
Yeah. Sniper 3, 5.2.
Okay.
Right, hang on now, because I got to get the names. Sniper Reloaded. Sniper Reloaded was, come on now, 5.4. So that's
It's gone back up.
Yeah.
Didn't expect that. Did not expect that. This feels like one of those game shows, you know, when you have the cards and you have to guess higher or lower.
Oh, come on, let's do a Brucey bonus.
All right. Sure. The thing is, it's too late now because I would have already lost because who's guessing the fourth one's better?
That's right. So Sniper Legacy was 5.4. Higher or lower?
Lower, surely.
Yeah. So sorry, Sniper Reloaded, I said. So Sniper Reloaded was 5.4. Sniper Legacy, 5.3. Lower. Well done. You're still in.
I'm going to go lower again.
Sniper Ghost Shooter. Well, don't guess until I give you the names. Try and guess from the names. Okay. Sniper Go. Oh, and this had Dennis Haysbert in.
Okay.
Oh, we're back up 5.4. You're out of the game.
Oh my God. I tell you what, though, they're consistent, right?
Yeah. Sniper Ultimate Kill.
I know.
We're doing them all now. We're doing all 11. Sniper Ultimate Kill. 5.6.
Oh, this is unheard of. This is unheard. I love the idea that by the time we get to like the 11th one, it's going to be on like 7.2.
Sniper Assassin's End 2020. 5.4. So we seem to be in the well, we're definitely in the 5 range, but yeah, the point.
Throw a blanket over these motherfuckers.
Sniper Rogue Mission.
Which suggests none of them are dog shit. At least so far.
To be fair to you, the ones I've seen, I've enjoyed. I really have.
Yeah.
Oh, Sniper Rogue Mission 4.7.
Now we're talking. Now we're talking. We're down in the 4s.
Two more. Sniper Grit.
That's a terrible title. Sorry, can't speak.
Global Response and Intelligence Team. Oh, 5.0. 5 on a nose.
That's gone back up though again. Usually there's usually a pretty steady decline for these kind of films when you get into straight to DVD kit territory, you know.
Sniper Last Stand. Yeah, 2025 zone. 4.8.
Okay, so it's gone back down again. Right, that's probably more consistent than I would have ever imagined. Especially like the first 6 were all in and around the kind of 5.4, 5.5, which for like a straight to DVD like action movie isn't terrible. We're not expecting masterpieces here, are we?
That's who I think the mean sniper is in Sniper 3 and Sniper 11 as well. Mummy's Own, Arnold Vosloo.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, so we've spent like 20 minutes talking about Sniper now. I'm going to have to try and force my way back into Major League. What I will say is I love the fact that in this film, rather than it being about the World Series, like the issue with getting to the World Series is that suddenly you have potentially 7 game series. And that's when you have to really tear through them because you're like, what? You're going to have like the AL East, championship game. You might have you probably wouldn't have had a wild card game in 89, but that's besides the point. Then suddenly you have the World Series, like you got to do like a best of 7. The way they set it up in terms of like just winning the AL East, which is weird now because they're not in the American League East. I'm pretty sure the Cleveland Guardians in the American League Central. But anyway, they were in the East stand. And they make it all about their competition against the Yankees. Yeah. And what you can do then is just turn it into a 1 game, one and done. It's like, because, there was no wild card then. So it's just like, you either win the AL East championship and you go through to the playoffs, or you lose and the Yankees do. It's actually quite a genius way of making it a one and done like finale. And what makes it especially work is the fact that the Indians, all the way through the film, you're kind of like, oh, of course you hate the Yankees. It's the big bad Yankees. But the Indians would have, and I'm sure the fans will speak to this, specifically hated the Yankees because between 69 and 89, when this movie was made, they had never finished above the Yankees in the AL East division. So it was such a big deal going into this. And I think it's gone longer. And it's actually one of the Indians are one of the reasons in particular I've grown to love baseball, because I love baseball like in the movies. But in 2016 was the first season when I really started watching it because it showed up on British TV and I was like, oh, I'm going to commit to this. And the 2016 World Series not only happens to be one of the greatest World Series of all time, but it had such an amazing narrative because it was the Cubs versus the Indians. Now, they mentioned a whole bunch of times in this movie that the Cubs haven't won the World Series since 1948. Well, back in 2016, the Cubs hadn't won the World Series since 1909. So it was the longest drought in MLB history. I think like the Mariners have never won it, but that's different because it's not a drought, whatever, but it doesn't matter. Now, Cleveland obviously lost that in 7 games to the Cubs. Absolutely amazing series. But now that Cleveland have taken on the kind of longest drought record, and now that's up to 76 years. So yeah, they're still going. So like the narrative that was present in this film in 1989 is absolutely still present in 2025. The only difference is they're not the Indians anymore. But yeah,
I love how I love how you wanted to get back from Sniper to talk about the film, and you went straight from the film to, oh yeah, real life baseball. This is what happened.
Ridiculous, but yeah, but it is an excuse to talk about that last.
That's right. So we'll talk about the last. But before that, I want 1989. Was it still acceptable to stalk your ex-girlfriend?
It's a bit suspect. Like Tom Berenger just about gets away with it because he's quite charming, but a lot of the stuff he does, it's borderline. I think the fact that Rene Russo is clearly down kind of takes the edge off. Like she's she's doing the whole, oh, I've got my new boyfriend, but clearly her new boyfriend's a bad end. Clearly she's still into touch. She's given him just enough to make him think I should keep going for this. And they've got the whole like they used to be married thing. Were they married or were they boyfriend?
No, they weren't even engaged. They were just together for a long time. Together. He said she would have been my wife if I hadn't fucked her. Yeah.
But it was like they've got that history together, and it's so I think he just about gets away with it. But we're talking 1989, so there wasn't an eyebrow raise in 1989. He's following around in the bullpen car, whatever he can get his hands on. But he gets his woman at the end of the film, even if that part of the story is somewhat underdeveloped. But I think it's fine for this film.
Right. Last game.
Like you said, like it's such a baseball movie. Like I mentioned earlier, ends on a squeeze play, a bunt. It's all stolen bases and signals. I just think it's a great way to end a very, very baseball-centric movie. And I know it's like, well, of course, a baseball movie, but you know what I mean? It doesn't go for the usual kind of like, oh, well, it has to be a home run. We have to make things simplistic. It gets into the weeds as far as baseball's concerned, and that runs right through to the finale. And obviously that's not to mention, the Charlie Sheen coming out to Wild thing. That's become incredibly iconic. And I like the fact that there's no fucking round afterwards. They win the game. They haven't won the World Series. It doesn't matter. They've made the playoffs. They beat the Yankees. Credits. Let's not fuck around anymore. Yeah. Let's keep this movie down as an hour and 45. Absolutely fantastic.
It's the same as the Replacements. They didn't. They got into the playoffs. Their last game was not the end of the. It was we get into the playoffs end film.
Yeah.
The next game, all the team crosses over the picket line. They lose.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So yeah, I kind of like that. You left it with this team, like you said. They've done enough. Well, they did enough a long time ago because it was basically about the attendance. So as soon as they started having everybody come to the city was never going to let them leave.
Well, again, it's quite interesting. Like I said, you never get to see October baseball in this film. It's like the whole idea. It's like you're building up towards, will the Indians make the playoffs? Well, they do make the playoffs by winning the AL East Championship. But like the movie just ends. So we don't know, like, do they go on and win it? I can't remember if they mention it in the set. I assume they don't because you want to leave that as a potential, something you can work on in subsequent sequels.
Yeah.
But I just like the fact that it's just like, well, we've really achieved what we set out to do. This was our Everest. Anything else on top? I know it's based on a true story, so that's part of the reason. But that's basically what happens in Moneyball as well. It's like them winning the AL East, not the AL East. It's not it's the Oakland Athletics, isn't it? But they win the league and they make it to the playoffs or whatever. And then obviously they don't mention any further because they get knocked out in the playoffs. But in this film, it's just like, what? Do they win it? Do they not? It doesn't really matter.
So what was the last game?
The Yankees.
No. I know what was it. Not a final. What was?
Oh
that
no!
game?
So it wasn't an official. It was just a league game, But because they would have gone into that last, like on basically equal records. So you've played like 165 games. So say they're both like 165. So 100 wins, 65 losses kind of thing.
Okay, that's
So
right, because
that wouldn't be the record, but just for easy maths, let's just say that's this case. So they're both playing each other. They're in the same division. And basically, it's like whoever wins that game will have the best record in that league, and then they'll make it to the playoffs. So
no,
it's
that's
just
fine
a
because
league game.
I was just looking at Major League Two because at the beginning of it says after winning the division title the previous season.
It's called the division title, but that's just
Okay.
for winning the league for that season. So it's like
Yeah,
split
okay.
out into different divisions. So
Yeah,
they've
that's fine.
won their league, which then takes them into the playoffs. But obviously, we don't see the playoffs in this film. Although what we do see is an actual baseball player. So I never realized that the dude playing for the Yankees, who obviously is it Ricky Vaughn? Is that his name?
No,
in the
Ricky
film?
Vaughn is Charlie Sheen.
No, that's what I mean. Charlie Sheen's character
yeah,
is Ricky
yeah.
Vaughn. He has problems every time he goes up against him. They're kind of
Haywood,
building up
played
that
by
narrative.
Peter Vukovich.
Vukovic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he played in the majors for 10 years, maybe 12. But all anyone supposing knows it for is this. So it's just like,
He played for 10 years, maybe 12. Major League Baseball pitcher, played from 1975 to 1986. So he played for 11.
oh, motherfucker. So yeah, I completely fucked that. But I love the idea that it's clear he's a bad guy because he's got a bit of a handlebar mustache, and more specifically, he's got chewing tobacco. Chewing tobacco feels like the hobby of the bad guy, and it's one of those things. Bizarrely, you still see. So Rafael Devers, he's a designated hitter. He was recently with the Red Sox, and he moved in a big money move to the San Francisco Giants recently. What he is chewing on looks like fucking chew. Supposedly, he says it's chewing gum with sunflower seeds in it. When he's chewing it, it's this big, huge gob in his mouth. It looks brown as fuck. And I'm like, I think he's just bullshitting everyone. That looks like chew to me, which of course makes him a villain as far as I'm concerned. But he's for considering he's an actual baseball player, he's pretty convincing in this film.
Yeah. Well, he's a better. His lines as well, he delivers them absolutely great. Like when he goes, hey, Jake, they got you playing in this shit league again? How's your wife and my kids? Like
that's a great line. That is how is your wife and my kids? It's one of those ones that, like, the more you stop and think about it, the more brutal it is. Absolutely.
I mean, to be fair, he is a better foil than David Keith as Jack Parkman from Number 2. Like I wasn't a huge fan of David Keith in that film.
No. And the thing is with the sequel. Well, we'll get to the sequels in a minute, so I'll just leave that for now. Is there anything else you wanted to mention before we move on to favorite scene?
No, I think we've mentioned. Oh, the only other thing, Pepper, who we don't see a lot, was Admiral Bates in Under Siege.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, you only see him a couple times in fairness, but yeah, is he in the sequels as well?
Yeah, he is. I believe he is. Yeah, he brings the KFC.
I thought he was. Well, that was one of the interesting things. The KFC, the fact that he brings that was one of the things I actually remembered most about this film, because it's easy to go, well, KFC is just like a big deal now. When I was younger watching this, you couldn't get KFC. There was no, like, maybe it was in the UK, maybe it was in London. It wasn't in Cardiff. Like the KFC didn't come to Cardiff until the 90s.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, and especially the idea of having fried chicken specifically in a bucket. So I associate KFC with this movie. So I always wanted, not only did I want KFC, and then KFC finally arrived, but back when I was younger, you couldn't get KFC in a bucket. And you're like, well, that shouldn't matter. It's still just KFC in a box instead. It did matter to me. I had seen it in the movie and I wanted KFC in a bucket. So when they finally did it, I'm like, I'm getting KFC enough. And I don't know what it is about it. I think KFC just tastes better out of a bucket. It just, it's like the whole, I mentioned it before, Egon eating a Twinkie in Ghostbusters. Of course, we've all had a Twinkie now and we find out they just taste a little bit like Swiss rolls and they're absolutely fine. But for the longest time, it was just this mystery food. I didn't know what was in it. And that was the thing. This was before the internet. I had no way to look it up. There was no Twinkie in the UK. I was like, what the fuck is he eating? This Twinkie, he refers to it as a Twinkie, but I'm like, I have just no concept of what it could possibly be. And yes, ultimately it was slightly disappointing, but it's a big deal. Luckily, KFC buckets, they deliver the goods. A bucket of KFC is fucking business.
Well, it is a lot. I mean, we're getting in more and more. I recently just found out we've got a Carl's Jr. in St. David's too. Yeah.
Jesus Christ! I forgot that was even a thing, but that's totally a movie thing, Carl's Jr.
Yeah. So we were, I went to the town with my son, and we were walking past, and we were walking to the bus stop. So we walked through the food court in St. David's too. And what used to be Eddie's Diner
Mhm.
is now next to Slim Chickens. There's another one for you.
Jesus Christ.
Is
Carl's
Carl's
Jr.
Jr.
I don't think I've ever seen I don't think I've ever seen Carl's Jr. in like America,
No,
let
so
alone over here.
upstairs above Carl's Jr. is
Mhm.
Shake Shack.
Yeah. Shake Shack's the
Yeah,
bomb. Shake Shack
so
is good.
but that's what I mean. We're just getting all the Americans. We got Popeyes now.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
yeah,
But I'd seen Popeyes. It's like Carl's Jr. feels like something I heard in a movie in like 1987,
mm.
and I've just not thought about since.
So I'm not going to say we've made it as a society until we get in and out.
That's the big one, dude. I went past in and out when I was in San Francisco, but I just had like the biggest breakfast ever, and I was just like, "Oh, I'll get one another time," and I just didn't go past one again. And now I'm just like, even though I was full, I should have just gone
Yeah.
in and just had a burger.
Because that's only a certain state thing, isn't it? Like West or
It's West
something.
Coast. It's West Coast. Yeah. So yeah, in that burger is supposed to be the bomb, and I just haven't. I had the opportunity to try it, and I didn't. It was my wife, basically. I was like, "Can I get a burger?" And she was like, "No, you just had a massive breakfast." And she's not going to get, but I've heard about it in so many movies. I want to try a burger. It's like that doesn't fucking work for her at
No.
all. What's the one from Pulp Fiction? Where when he's eating the burger and Jules Samuel Jackson tries his burger, it's like that is a tasty burger.
burger. The fuck knows.
I think he says that in and out, but he says something else.
I thought it was McDonald's they were talking about.
No, it's not McDonald's.
Royale with cheese.
Yeah, well, they have that whole conversation, and
Yeah.
he talks to him about it, doesn't he? He's like, "You know what they don't call it quarter pounder?" He's like, "Oh, the metric system. Check out the big brain on bread." What the fuck is the burger place? So you have to
Big
look it up.
Kahuna.
Big Kahuna Burger. Thank you very
Big
much.
Kahuna.
Is that? I assume that's a real thing.
It's a fictional burger chain.
Oh, it's a fictional one. Well, anyway, I am amazed that one of those has shown up in Cardiff. But to bring it back
another
to
tangent.
I know. Favorite scenes. We will get back to it.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I want to talk about the song because it is the final sequence. It's the final game. I love the burns. I love like you said, the fact that it ends on. I don't think it's a suicide because the difference between a squeeze play and a suicide squeeze play, to my understanding, is that a suicide is when the runner is already running from third before the pitch is made. So he's already committed to it. So it's like it's either going to work or it's not. Because he's running from second, I don't think so. I think it's just a squeeze play. But whatever the case, it's an interesting way to end the movie. I love Tom Berenger running with everything he's worth.
Yeah.
Surely they only did one take of that because he looked genuinely fucked.
My knees hurt when he was running. I just felt it. Yeah.
Totally. You feel every year of his, what was he, like 40 when he did this? And you're just like, I ran, like, I sprinted for my wife was amazed because I saw the bus. We came out the house and we were going to work, but she was catching a different bus. And I just saw the bus, and without thinking, I was like, the only way I can get this is if I gun it. And just from a standing start, I sprinted for like 100 meters and made the bus. And my wife was just like, I can't believe what you just did. I was like, I can't either. And all of a sudden, I was just like, when was the last time I just did a full-on sprint? I was like, I think it's a long time. Like, I run quite regularly, but when's the last time I just like, I'm going to go all out? It just does not happen often when you're 43. I'll tell you that fucking much. But yeah, I'm sure I looked much the same when running. Just like, I think everyone after over 40, when they sprint, just looks like Tom Berenger at the end of Major League. But sorry, that's my answer.
So painful. No, that's fine. I mean, the right answer is the final game bunt. It is the right answer, but my answer is going to be Bob Uecker's commentary. Just a bit outside. And to prove that he's like a Jack man, he's not only drinking Jack, he's putting it behind his ear like it's cologne. So I appreciate that's not a one scene. It's like put all of Bob Uecker's stuff together, but I love it. Like he does a line. He goes, he does a line, something along the lines of, "You can enter a Indians game for free if you were actually alive the last time we won a pennant." But the way he delivers that line is if I love
it's amazing, and it's if you don't know any better, you would just assume he was an actor. You would never think he's an actual baseball commentator. And he's not playing Bob Uecker in this film. He's got a character name in this film, but they just they just put him in the booth and they just set him to work. And he is like, we asked the question last week. It's like, is Madden in The Replacements as good as Bob Uecker? And make no mistake, Madden is very good in The Replacements. But we said last week, he's just not in the same league as Bob Uecker. No. And you rewatch this film, you're just like, no, he's the GOAT. He's the GOAT of movie commentators. And it's not even a conversation. No pun intended, but.
What's Bob Uecker's name in this? You said he had a name. What is it?
Fred something?
Harry Doyle?
Okay, there we go. Harry Doyle, let's go with that then.
Yeah, Harry Doyle, Fred something.
Why do I feel like Fred was like a decent guess? It's not a decent guess at all. His name was
No,
Harry.
not
It's
at
not
all.
close.
Yeah,
No, no. I was quite proud of myself, like a
yeah.
split second. I was like, Fred's pretty close. I'm like, what do you mean it's pretty close? It's pretty close in so much that it's another male name. That's about it. Jesus Christ. Um, so yeah, you are cheating because it's not a scene; it's a collection of scenes, but we'll allow it because Bob Uecker deserves his flowers for this film. In terms of loves and hates, my three loves: number one, great cast. Berenger in particular, as I said, even though it is a genuine ensemble piece, this movie, I do think if forced to kind of pick someone, I think it's Berenger's movie above anyone else's, and I think he's a great lead. Two, the way it follows the season, as I said at the start, it's like a great sense of pacing and time, which is something that I think is like totally underrated in a sports movie. It's so easy to suddenly get thrown from one end to the other, and you're like, wait, what part of the season am I in? How the fuck are we suddenly at the end? This movie, you feel like you're on a journey right from the start, right through to that final AL East game. And number three, basically what I just mentioned there to a certain extent, but ending on the American League East finale rather than the World Series is a stroke of genius and allowed it to be just a one-game winner-takes-all scenario rather than the whole usual seven-game drama that you get in the World Series. So I thought that was really smart.
For me, number one is Berenger as Jay Taylor. He just brings that weathered charm to the character, doesn't he? It's like the aging catcher with bad knees, a heart full of unfinished business. He just wants, I don't know, a winning team, and he wants the girl. Now he's seen her again. He
feels like usually in this kind of film, that exact same character is just played by Kevin Costner. But in this film, it's Berenger.
Yeah, well, there you go, because he's the emotional anchor of the team.
Totally.
If you want to put it any other way. Like he's part mentor, part romantic lead, part like he's all just full of grit and gristle, and I don't know. I just think he's great in this.
I was going to say he's one of is he the best catcher in baseball movie history? But I was like, John C. Reilly and Bull Durham is fucking awesome in that film. So I don't. Those two are, they're two of the best. So
John C. Reilly wasn't in Bull Durham.
Oh no,
Kevin Costner was the catcher in Bull Durham. For the love of the game.
For the love of the game. Sorry, I got the two mixed up. I do apologize.
Yeah. No, you confused me.
For the love of the game isn't actually a fantastic baseball movie, but John C. Reilly is amazing in it.
Yeah, it's a good film. I mean, John C. Reilly in that film takes on catcher, looks after the pitcher. Like he does everything to make sure the pitcher is like the starting pitcher is happy. So yeah,
John C. Reilly is just the fucking best. I can't think of anyone who can somehow both do like. If you can put him on screen with Will Ferrell and he doesn't feel like a classically trained actor. He feels like someone they've taken off SNL. Yeah. He's Talladega Nights, Step Brothers, all that jazz. He can go full on head to head with like some of the best in the business in terms of like a comedic performance, but he's also just happens to be one of the best dramatic actors around. He's got to be the most versatile actor in the world and one of the most just lovably interesting faces in movie history.
Yeah.
And if you haven't seen it, and I don't usually like kind of spoofs and send-ups, Walk Hard is surprisingly brilliant, and he is awesome in it. Anyway, sorry.
That's okay. I'll go for number two.
Go for it.
Bob Uecker as Harry Doyle. I don't know. He doesn't. I know you mentioned the cast. I wanted to drill down a bit more. He doesn't just steal the scenes. He kind of hijacks all of anything he's in. His delivery is so dry. His lines are endlessly quotable. He's just he's like the sarcastic voice of the fans. He's saying what we're all thinking, but he does it with like that whiskey-soaked wit, which I think is great. He's so good in it.
By the way, I absolutely adore the term hijack scenes because not stealing them, hijacking. It's just that next level. But I have the fact I didn't have I've just kind of just lazily said great cast and mentioned Berenger. The fact that I haven't mentioned Bob Uecker is an absolute crime. So thank you for setting the record straight.
It's okay. Number three, the rest of the cast.
No, there we go.
It's like the ensemble is magic, isn't it? You got Charlie Sheen's Wild Thing, Wesley Snipes' Bass Stealing Haze, Dennis Haysbert's Voodoo Loving Serrano. They're just lovable misfits, but they all have that distinct flavor. Their chemistry is fantastic, and they never feel like they're trying too hard between them.
Yeah. I think we've mentioned it previously when it comes to horror movies in particular, but I think it applies to sports movies. It's like the genius thing is not every character needs an arc or a traditional narrative. So, like I said earlier, with the whole back and forth with the Holy War, as you referred to it as, They just need a moment, a scene, like a fucking line can sometimes is enough, and you just got to make them memorable. Because too many of these sports films, you have three or four players who become the emphasis of the film, and everyone else just falls by the wayside. You're like, well, why was he even in the film? You never
Yeah.
question why Chelsea's like for Chelsea Ross is in this film, even though he doesn't do a great deal from a narrative perspective. You just like because he's in a handful of scenes and he just kills it. And even if you don't like him, he is memorable. That's
Yeah.
the difference.
Yeah.
And it's just like if you can just come in, have a thing, be memorable for like a scene, then you're part of the team and people remember you, and that's absolutely fine. And I mentioned at the top of the podcast, that is what this movie maybe does better than any sports movie I can remember, in certainly that we've watched recently anyway.
Yeah.
Any
Hates?
alternative titles? Oh,
We're on
sorry,
Hates.
hates.
Yeah.
My apologies. Well, Phelps's plan is essential. As you mentioned earlier, it becomes clownish and totally out of touch with the rest of the movie. We have since explained that with the whole, there was a cut scene where she kind of explains herself, but obviously that isn't in the movie. And when you're watching it and you get to that final game in particular, I was like, it did briefly take me out of the movie because I was just like, this makes no sense. Why is she rooting against the team? She had a plan. It didn't, if anything, it's accidentally turned out amazing because her team are fucking slaying. Yeah, she might not get to move this year, but it's still a successful Major League Baseball team. It's going to line her pockets quite handsomely. Anyway, we've explained that. Speaking of like out of touch, like there are a few very broad sight gags that feel out of place to me in this film. So just like there's a handful of really staged comedic sequences, and they're only short, but they genuinely feel like something out of Spaceballs. So there's a bit when they're all sitting in the dugout and they all do like a cross leg thing together.
Yeah.
I'm like, I didn't quite get that. And when Mrs. Phelps comes down and she's talking to the team, they all do this kind of like, perfectly in time
Behind her
up
back.
yours.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was just like, I just don't think it fits well with the tone of the rest of the movie. It's not like the end of the world, but it just took me out. I was just like, I just don't think that belongs in this movie. And I see my number 3 was Susan Dawn's plan motivation, but you totally explained that. So, yeah, sorry, I can't think of a third because the third one, but you've totally explained it. So I'm going to leave it at 2. And considering most weeks I have like 4 or 5.
4, yeah. So you make up for it. That'd be fine. Yeah. For me, I'll go with your number 1 as well. But what I wrote down was Rachel Phelps's cartoon villainy.
Yeah.
I mean, she may be a fun antagonist, but she's also just one-dimensional.
Mm-hmm.
Her scheme to sabotage the team is so over the top. It's bordering on pantomime.
No, it is. It really is.
And number 2, then the romance subplot. I just think that his pursuit of Lynn just feels like it's wandered from somewhere else. It's just, it's not that the chemistry, they have chemistry, fantastic, but it's just the pacing with them. Like, and I don't know. It just,
I totally get what you mean. Like, I don't mind it because I don't think it outstays its welcome. But at the same time, it's like you make the argument. It's like, well, if you can have a love story, like commit to it. Whereas in this film, it's kind of quite fleeting, especially the way it ends. But it's like, it gets there together now, I suppose.
It slows down the momentum of the film when it leans into that rom-com trope, and it's just like, and everything else around it is, just fucking, I don't know. Everything else around it is just happy-go-lucky playing baseball, and then you just get this thing. And I mean, aside, Jake's borderline stalker behavior is just ridiculous.
I mean, like I said, I don't mind it, and part of it is just because it's Rene Russo and she's so incredibly watchable. But make no mistake, nobody, when they're talking about how much they love Major League, is talking about the relationship between Tom Berenger and Rene Russo. It's like halfway through, like not halfway through the film, like a quarter of the way through the film. All of a sudden, you have Tom Berenger, Wesley Snipes, and Charlie Sheen going out for dinner. And, somebody makes a joke about Charlie Sheen and it's like, dressed for like some kind of formal event. And he's wearing like it's the only time in the film when he looks like he's dressed like a lunatic. Like, make no mistake, he is dressed like an absolute psycho at that point. But fair enough, it is what it is. And you're like, well, this is a strange scene. And you realize it's just so they can have, what would you refer to as a meet cute, I suppose?
Yeah.
And it's just, it's all a little bit forced. As I said, the relationship itself works because they have chemistry. It's over relatively they get to the point relatively quickly, but it's not it's not the part of the film anybody really remembers.
Yeah. And number 3, finally, as much as you've said the baseball logic kind of goes AWOL for me at times. It's like, so I wrote down, it kind of plays fast and loose with the realism from Vaughn doing 100 mile per hour, magically gaining control of it because he's got glasses. the miraculous rise with only a handful of competent players, really. It's more along the lines of baseball fantasy, not baseball strategy.
Well, I see what you mean in so much that it tries to have its cake and eat it because it does kind of lean into the whole. And again, to bring it back to a movie I watched very recently, Formula One has this issue. So I know, like, I liked F1 the movie, but because they lean so heavily into like the technical aspects of F1, because I watch quite a bit of Formula One in particular, is that you end up almost watching it at times just like you would watch a Formula One race because you're like, oh, well, it's so like on point. But then all of a sudden they need to bring in the movie nonsense. And what happens is it invariably clashes against the realism that that they have on screen for like 80% of the movie, because all of a sudden in comes like, oh, they've got to make something happen in that kind of like movie magic way. And just like, oh, well, that wouldn't work. He's on the dirty side of the track, blah, 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 whatever. And you have a similar kind of disparity here between, well, part of it feels like this is like a proper baseball movie, but at the same time, you're seeing these clowns at the start of the season. It's just like, wait, they're suddenly competing with the Yankees for the AL East Championship. Yeah, it doesn't really add up, and you just kind of have to go with the flow, but I get it. Any alternative titles to this film?
Yep. Argentina, Laughter and Triumphs.
Oh, it's terrible. Terrible.
Austria, The Indians of Cleveland.
That's not bad. It's not bad.
Yep. Azerbaijan, Big League.
I mean, it's no different to Major League, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. Brazil, Claw of Champions.
Claw.
Claw. Rah, claw. Rah.
Rah, rah. Oh, sorry, I wasn't sure what kind of claw you meant until you went rah. Yeah, that's terrible. That doesn't make any sense.
Well, there you go. Then Croatia, First Class.
No.
Yeah. Denmark, The Crazy Team.
Yeah, it's fine, I guess.
Finland, Ball Lost.
Ball Lost.
Yeah.
That's what like the Sandlot should have been called.
Yeah.
Like that's basically the plot of the Sandlot. They lose the Babe Ruth signed baseball, Ball Lost. But yeah, it doesn't work for this film.
France, The Indians.
Yeah, it's fine.
Germany, The Indians of Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we already had that one, didn't we? Austria, didn't we? Sorry.
Yeah.
Greece, The Big Favorite.
No, because they're not the big favorite.
Hungary, The Big Team. Just like Major
Again,
League.
No. Yeah.
Italy, Major League, the biggest team in the league.
That's so stupid.
Yeah. Kazakhstan, Top League.
Yeah, fine. It's just all different,
Norway, Go For It.
Yeah, sure. Bit generic.
Poland, First League.
Nope.
Portugal, The Crazy Year of the Indians.
That's okay.
What the fuck was Spain watching? A woman in the league?
Yeah, I guess maybe in reference to the owner, perhaps.
Yeah,
maybe.
Sweden, Worst Gang.
No,
Taiwan, Grand Alliance.
definitely not.
That's it.
The best one's that it's a little on the nose, but the Indians of Cleveland. It's just got like a nice little ring to it. Almost like makes it sound quite poetic. Any facts of this movie that we've not already covered?
Yep, we've got a few that I will go on with. Charlie Sheen. Oh, we said that one. Charlie Sheen admitted to Sports Illustrated that he took steroids to prepare for his role. He believed the steroids he took caused him to increase his fastball to 85 miles per hour.
Well, if it works, it works. And this was, leading into the big steroid era of the late 80s, early 90s, like Jose Canseco and all that jazz and Barry Bonds.
Yeah, but not for a film. I'm going to take steroids for a film.
Maybe he's just like, dude, everyone in baseball is doing steroids. I'm committed to the role. If Daniel Day-Lewis was in this film in 1989, he would be doing fucking steroids for sure.
I'd be doing blow off a hooker's ass, wouldn't he?
Well, if it makes, I'm sure a lot of baseball players were doing blow off hookers' asses back in 1989. So if they were doing it, then Daniel Day-Lewis would be doing it.
Yeah. The scene when Harry Doyle dabbed some Jack Daniels whiskey behind his ear was improvised by Bob Uecker. He said it was meant to show that his character liked whiskey so much that he would put some on himself like perfume.
Nice.
Of course, that was Bob Uecker. Former major. Oh, we already said. Oh no, former major league catcher Steve Yeager served as coach for the actors in training for the movie. Also serving as a stunt double for Tom Berenger in many scenes when Jake Taylor would make a throw from home plate or be in a home plate collision, as well as play third base coach Temple. Yeah,
because playing catcher, man, Jesus, I know they mention obviously a bunch of times about his knees, but it is not a comfortable position to be in. And especially like throwing from you think it's like, oh, could you fake it and just look like you could bat or pitch or something? Like, I think the trickiest one would be like convincingly throw from your knees to like third base or second base. Jesus, can't do that.
After Vaughan strikes out Hayward, he is congratulated in the dugout by a player named Keltner. Ken Keltner was the third baseman on the 1941 Indians, whose fielding heroics helped end Joe DiMaggio's 56-game hit streak.
Oh yeah, the most famous hit streak in baseball history.
Yep. Many of the baseball players in the scenes filmed at High Corbett Field in Tucson, Arizona, were members of the University of Arizona baseball team. What else have we got here? When Willie Mays Hayes backs out of the practice area headed to the parking lot, he waves a green handkerchief. This is actually a cue for the motorcycle driver to enter the frame.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah. Clu Hayward was based on former Yankees catcher Thurman Munson.
Mm-hmm.
Real life starting pitcher Spencer Strider of the Atlanta Braves changed his number to 99 in honor of Rick Vaughn, the character played by Charlie Sheen.
That's pretty
We're just going to get a lot of this stuff now. This baseball player did this baseball player did that. The owner's goal in this film is to move the team to Miami. Just 4 years after its release, Miami was awarded an expansion team that went on to win the World Series after just 5 seasons in 1997. Ironically, they beat a heavily favored Cleveland team. I don't know. It doesn't say the name of the team.
Well, the Miami Marlins are the baseball team in Miami, so yeah.
We'll end
and that's of course sometimes sometimes teams change names and stuff, so like, God knows if I've missed something there, but yeah, fair enough. I mean, these on to How to the Future, so we asked a question: remake, sequel, Let It Die, Leave Well Alone. This is an interesting one because in and of itself I would say Leave Well Alone. It's very much an 80s movie and belongs where it is, and I think the reason it works is because of the cast, blah blah. But there obviously were 2 sequels, I want to say.
Yeah, so there was Major League 2 and then Major League Back to the Minors.
So the sequel is an interesting one because it was also directed by David S. Ward. It brought back a lot of the original cast, and yet, critically at least, did a lot worse. So this was reviewed and received pretty well. Beyond being a big hit, if you look, I think on Metacritic, it was at like 70 or some shit like that. The sequel got absolutely slaughtered by critics.
Well, because one of the things they decided, this R-rated film made money, so what we'll do, we'll make the second one PG.
Yeah, so
they made it PG. That's so they had to take a lot of the humor that we like about this film because you're not going to get it. Omar Epps played Willie Mays Hayes instead of Wesley Snipes. That's not his fault, but what I'm saying, that's like one of the differences. And then Major League Back to the Minors came straight out on DVD and was a PG-13. So
that one was slightly better received.
Maybe that one was PG-13. I think it might have been slightly better received. Yeah, I'm
like sure
Back to the Minors.
Like the first one seen as the best one. I think that's like unequivocal. But I think Back to the Minors is seen as like I don't think it was supposed to be amazing, but I think it was a slight return to form after the disappointment of the second movie, which is a shame because and it's such part of the reason this works. I mean, I mentioned it earlier is because it is like a believable clubhouse. So, like you said, exaggerated, but these guys like talk like ball players. They talk like men. As soon as you make it PG and you have to sand down the rough edges, suddenly it just doesn't feel as legitimate, does it? It's just one of those things. No. And especially when you've already seen a movie, when you've seen these characters act and talk in a certain way, and then all of a sudden you've got to be like, oh, you can't say that because it's a PG. It's a slippery slope, to say the least.
Corbin Burnson and Dennis Haysbert in all 3. And Walton Goggins was in the third one.
Oh, fair enough. But yeah, I was actually surprised, like how many, because usually for these kind of sports films, as you mentioned a bunch of times, it's like you'll lose a whole bunch of guys. Like I just kind of like in my head, it's like, oh well, Charlie Sheen wouldn't come back, but they were all back for the second one, and Charlie Sheen was like a big star then as well.
Yeah.
But I think it goes to show just how big of a hit Major League was and how popular the movie was.
Apologies, we've said him enough time. Bob Uecker was also in the third one. He just decided to. Yeah, for some reason they didn't explain it. He is now just voicing the Miners team. They're not even called the Cleveland Indians. Obviously, it's the Miners team. So it's the Hornets.
They're like the AAA kind of affiliate team, whatever kind of thing.
Yeah, the Buzz or the Hornets or something like Miami, but maybe Miami. I can't remember, but yeah.
Well, I guess the question is, do you want to see Major League 4?
Oh, we're moving there, are we?
Well, that's fundamentally the question. I assume we don't want to see it be remade. There's already been a couple of sequels. So I guess the only real question is, do you just leave it and die? Leave it to die. That sounds harsh, but just leave it well alone as it is. Or would you want to see a 4th movie in the series?
You're making it's weird. You're either making a 4th film and just saying, right, it's a different Indians team, and there's nothing really like you bring.
You'd have to call them the fucking Guardians as well.
Yeah, or you do some sort of legacy sequel where I don't know, Vaughn's kid is joining the guy. No, I don't think so. We'll leave it at the 3. I think we're
No.
good.
The only legacy I want to see from this film, as I said, is make the Cleveland Guardians the Cleveland Indians again, but take the logo. I'm telling you right now, that's free information. I get it why you don't want to bring back whatever his name is, Wahoo. Is it Chief Wahoo? Yeah, Chief Wahoo. It's like Chief Wahoo. Yeah, it looks kind of cool. It's kind of iconic. It's a little bit racist. I get it. Just use the logo from this movie. It's dope. You will sell so many fucking caps if they rebranded the Indians and used the Major League logo, dude. It would just absolutely kill. That leads us on to make a change. Yeah, usually make a change. So this is where you can just make one change to make the movie better. I'd be unsurprised if we both picked the same thing. It's make Phelps' ownership narrative a tad less clownishly evil. I think you used a better term earlier, broadly something or another. I don't know, but whatever it was, it just pantomime, I think is the term you used. It just doesn't belong with the rest of the film. I know you need it to make the film work. It's like, that's why you have this group of underdogs playing in the major leagues. But you either, incorporate it more successfully into the film, or you just kind of abandon it. You certainly tone down the tone. Does that make sense? Because it just doesn't suit the rest of the film.
So we're on the same page. I had make Phelps the secret ally. Restore the alternate ending where she's revealed to have orchestrated the team's underdog status, not out of malice, but as reverse psychology to motivate them. She pretends to sabotage the team so they'll bond and fight harder.
Just do that. Just do that. Yeah. Makes loads more sense. Best and worst of, no, I've skipped the section again, video games. So there wasn't a Major League video game to my knowledge. Basically, this is just me. What do I want? And really what I want is a return of World Series Baseball, which I played on the Sega Saturn back in the day. So I would love Sega to return to World Series Baseball, have a Major League edition, preferably on the recently released Dreamcast 2. This really is just Liam's dream situation. But basically, I have really fond memories of World Series Baseball, and I would love to see a Major League version of that. But, is that realistic? Absolutely fucking not. About as realistic as a Dreamcast 2, actually. But it would be very cool all the same. How about you?
Kind of like the same thing. I remember playing this back in like 2014. I would go for Super Mega Baseball.
Super Mega Baseball.
Yeah. I mean, you got the over-the-top characters, the exaggerated animations. It'll embrace the fun of the baseball without getting bogged down in the realism. Because I've tried to play MLB 2025, and it gets too realistic, and it's just boring as fuck for me.
I tell you what, you should play. Right, if you have any interest in baseball and you get it on PlayStation Plus or whatever, MLB The Show. It has like storyline versions, which actually could. The correct answer is probably this. So recently, I think it was on they did it across two of the games, actually. They did a history of the Negro Leagues. So each game would have like a bunch of I was going to say Willie Mays, he didn't play in the Negro Leagues. Satchel Paige, for instance.
Yeah.
And they'd have they would tell you a part of his history of playing in the Negro Leagues, and then you get to relive his most famous moments. Basically just do that with just the Major League narrative. So it's just like you go, they got all the players from the team, and at one point you get to play as Ricky Vaughn, and you've got to pitch out the Yankees in the bottom of the ninth with the music and everything else using the MLB engine. It would be fucking awesome. But realistically, I think your answer is probably the correct one. Because then Super Mega Baseball is still going. Super Mega Baseball 3 was released last year, I think, and it's an EA game as far as I know.
Right. So are we doing IMDb?
Best and worst of IMDb. Yeah. So this is where we pick one random 10-star and 1-star review for the movie. As to how many, this is going to be tricky. How many written reviews are there for Major League? 222.
156.
Well, not too far off. Of those, I think a lot of people might give this a 10. 156. 37.
Oh, nice. 43.
Well, not too far. I'm pretty happy with that.
So this one was released written in 2012, titled Best Baseball Movie. I don't care what anyone says. This is by far the best baseball movie ever made. Bull Durham was a bit too much of a chick flick to be a real baseball fan's movie of choice. Major League isn't
pussies, bro.
Major League isn't a movie that's going to solve world peace or anything, but if you want a light-hearted, entertaining film that's hysterically funny, then you need to see this. Charlie Sheen, being a former high school pitcher, was able to get 85 miles per hour on his fastball, which isn't as fast as characters 100 miles per hour. Well, no shit, Sherlock. But close enough to with the way they film it, make it look. But close enough to with the way they film it to make it look believable as being a real flamethrower.
You got there. I think you've probably done it as well as you could, given the information in front of you.
If they had someone who didn't have a background in baseball, they would have probably had to use a stunt double for his pitching scenes, which would have sucked. Review.
It's a strange review with some terrible grammatical errors, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
1 star reviews. There can't be too many people who fucking hate this film. 5.
Goose egg.
How many? Goose
None.
egg. 0.
Goose
Oh,
egg, yeah.
that's good. See, that feels right. Like you watch this film, who would watch this and be like, I hate this film? Excuse me, even like 1 star. I'm just like, dude, really a 1 star for this? Unless there was like you're watching it in 2025 and you were just like something offends you or some wank like that. But it's like this is just like a really watchable sports movie. So this is our first goose egg though.
Yeah. No, we've had a couple in the past. We've had some ones, but I think we've had 1 or 2 that has a 0.
Oh, really? I
can't off the top of my head remember, but yeah, I think we have.
But anyway, so nobody hates this movie, which is absolutely fantastic.
So how many 2 stars?
Oh, 2
We're
stars.
Gonna do 2 stars. I got to give this 2-star one because I read this one and
6.
My God. Okay. Only 2. Only 2 people did not like this film. The reason why I would have left it alone, we could have moved on, but my God, this guy had
Bee in his bonnet.
Yeah. 2006 titled Major League Anti-Christian Bias.
Oh, he's upset about Jobu.
Yeah. Being a big baseball fan, I was anxious to see this movie. I did enjoy parts of it and got laughs out of Charlie Wild Thing Sheen's character, as well as a few others. It was nice to see the poor Cleveland Indians wind up winners too. But in addition to being a fan of the game, I am a Christian too, and the bias against my faith in this movie was disgusting. Had they done this to any other group, I suspect you would have heard an uproar over it. But Christians are fair game in the film world. Here, the dumbest and most annoying player on the team, of course, is the religious guy, Eddie Harris, played cartoonishly by Chelsea Ross. He is pictured as a nutcase and a guy nobody likes. On the other hand, we have the very likable voodoo-believing Latin American player. His superstitions are given great credence, naturally, with the voodoo actually being something that has real spiritual power. In the end, even Harris starts believing in them. Please. This film is one of the worst examples of Hollywood's prejudice you'll ever see. It's also sad comment that no one else here points this out.
I mean, that's pretty mental. Although I'm a little upset listening to that I used the term North Southern America rather than Latin America. Looking back, I'm like, oh no, that wasn't a good look for me at all. So yeah, he's put me in my place as far as that's concerned. But yeah, I don't think this is anti-Christian whatsoever. He even has that great line. He's like, you don't think Jesus could, hit a curveball or whatever? It's just like it's not anti-Christian at all. I wouldn't even say it's pro Jobu and voodoo.
I don't think anyone dislikes Harris as well. Nobody has actually gone right. Yeah. And the other thing, I mean, this guy, he hated the film. He'd hate the fact that I'd call her a holy war then, wouldn't he?
Oh, he certainly would.
Yeah.
Well, he sees it maybe as a holy war. I don't know. Yeah. But a bizarre 2-star review and well worth revisiting, I might add. Which brings us to our own ratings and recommendations. I suspect we might be in the same kind of, pun intended, ballpark here. But for me, it's a 4 and a yes. It arguably helps if you're a fan of baseball, but it's absolutely not essential. If yes, it adheres to sports movie cliches to a certain extent, but it doesn't lean into them in any great way. It just feels like a good time following this team from the start to, not quite the finish of the season, because as we mentioned, we don't see the postseason. But I just love the characters. They're all very watchable. It doesn't outstay its welcome. It's aged brilliantly for the most part. Some people might say some of the stuff is belongs in the 80s, but this is a movie from 1989. But I don't think there's anything particularly egregious. So it's a 4 and a yes from me.
Pretty much everything you've said, it's a 4 and a yes from me as well. I mean, I love this film. I couldn't give it any more or less than Replacements. I feel the same when I'm watching both films. And absolutely, if somebody's asking me for a recommendation for a baseball film, as we've already established, I'm either going to spend ages trying to search for one nobody's ever heard of, or I'm going to give a Major League. So,
I mean, just to clear things up, this is definitely better than The Replacements. Definitely better than Replacements. And that's not me shitting on The Replacements. This is just, I think it is a better movie. As I mentioned earlier, it's not quite at the top of the baseball pyramid, but that is only because literally some of my favorite sports movies ever made just happen to be baseball movies. But this is just really good. Just forget about the whole baseball thing. Just as sports movies go, it's really good. It's super iconic. Everyone in it is great. Super fun. The only problem is you can't fucking watch it anywhere. Another fine example of the need for physical media. We've had to keep bringing this up the last few weeks, but watching some of these films is a complete pain in the ass. This film in particular, the fact that you just cannot find this film fucking sucks. The only reason I could watch it was because you sent me a Region 1 DVD. I had to
Yeah.
fish out my 12-year-old MacBook, which still had a disk drive, and I had to watch it on that. I'm like, what fucking world do we live in? This isn't some like obscure movie. This is 1989's Major League. Genuinely, this isn't one of those weird ass sports movie Rob mentioned, which no one's fucking heard of. This is a genuinely beloved sports movie, which in the UK at least, you cannot watch anywhere, which makes the fact that we chose it for this podcast fucking insane. But that's what we do. But it does make me genuinely upset that I had to go to such lengths to watch it.
The question is, you had my copy. How did I watch it? Magic
How did you
TV,
watch
baby.
it? Well, dude, there's the answer. And if anyone's like, oh, is there like a moral quandary to having a Magic TV? No, when it comes to this, it's the only way you can watch. And as we mentioned earlier, EFUS, the other baseball film, I will pay to watch this fucking movie if you give me the opportunity. The opportunity does not exist. All very annoying, but it is what it is. So yeah, that's been 1989's Major League, and that was my rant about physical media. Next week, we are moving on from American sports, and it is your choice, sir. What are you going for?
Oh boy, are we moving on.
Mm-hmm.
1991,
Mm-hmm.
director Mark L. Lester,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
the genius that gave us Commando.
And that is genius. And like, I'm not even saying that in a kind of ironic way. Like, Commando is kind of genius.
Yep. Right, so you're not getting anything from that. One of the actors is Kari Hiroki Kagawa. No,
Nope.
typical Chinese bad guy, Japanese bad guy in all 80s and 90s films. I'll give you the two actors together. That's top, and you're going to get it straight away. Brandon Lee and Dolph Lundgren.
Showdown in Little Tokyo?
Showdown in Little Tokyo. It's not Big Trouble in Little China. There's a showdown in Little
tricky
Tokyo.
because I want to say that every time. I was like,
Yeah.
Showdown. It feels like I'm going into like another movie. Bizarrely, I've not seen this film. And I didn't know it was directed by the same guy who directed Commando.
Yeah.
It's just one of those movies. I remember the VHS cover so clearly with like Dolph Lundgren standing behind Brandon Lee.
Brandon Lee standing behind Dolph Lundgren in front of a, in front of a tattooed chest.
Oh yeah, maybe I've just kind of mixed them up because I just know Dolph Lundgren's a lot taller.
Yeah,
but for whatever reason, it's just one of those films I just never got around to watching, which seems insane. Like, this one really does seem crazy. I've never seen this, but obviously I'll watch it for the first time next week, which is going to be interesting. Yeah, I assume you have quite fond memories of this film.
I do have fond memories of this. This is one of the it's not straight to DVD ones. This is just one of the ones that disappeared in the ethos, but lives in my physical media collection.
Yeah, this would have got a cinematic release back in the day, wouldn't it?
I would have thought so. Yeah, I would have thought so. It's just,
it was relatively low key. It wasn't like a massive hit, but it was a thing. That was,
and it was as well around about the time of the American fascination with Japanese culture. You had Rising Sun with Sean Connery and Wesley Snipes in like 93.
That was a good film.
Black Rain was like 89. So yeah, it's all around about the same thing. They loved it over there, like East meets West stuff.
Oh yeah, Black Rain's absolutely another one we need to do.
Yeah.
Just because we're mentioning that, I don't know why that's popped in my head. To bring it back to baseball, are you? This is a weird sentence. A fan of The Fan? Because that film got savaged by critics.
Yeah,
and I haven't seen it for a long time, but I've got a really weird soft spot for that film with Robert De Niro and Wesley Snipes.
Robert De Niro and Snipes. Well, Snipes considers that his only baseball film. For some reason, he just cuts Major League off.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Why would you do Major League is so much like people hold this film in genuinely high regard. I don't think anyone's picking The Fan as their favorite fucking baseball film. It's probably not making the top 30 of most lists, but I've got a soft spot for it.
I'm just looking at it now. I remember watching it. I remember enjoying it. I've only ever seen it once, so it'd be good to revisit. Mm-hmm. But lo and behold, one of the actors in it is Wilkinson from last week's The Replacements, the guy that shot his wife and is now doing time. So we're going to do all of his films because he's only ever done like 3.
See, I was saying that is weird that you get a lot of the crossover with these sports films, but I guess inherently what these sports movies all have are generally quite large casts because you need whole teams. But yeah, all I can think of when I think of The Fan is just Robin Niro. Hey, Bobby! That just kind of runs on loop in my head.
I always think of the random meeting on the beach.
Oh yeah. And it
The-
raining a lot. I remember it
yeah.
raining a lot in some of the sequences. But anyway, moving on. So yeah, that's going to be. We're not doing any more sports movies, at least not for a while. We're covering Showdown Little Tokyo, which is going to be an interesting one because I've never seen it before. Anything else to add before we wrap this up?
No, we've been on this for quite a while, so I'm gonna have to end it there.
Well, we've only had a couple of asides. I mean,
Yeah.
we talked about Sniper for about an hour and a half. So what the fuck are you going to do? But
We'll talk about Sniper longer in this episode than we would if we do the Sniper film.
100%, 100%. Okay, I've been Liam, he's been Rob, and you have been listening to the Hey You Guys Sniper podcast special, apparently. See you guys next week. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, guys. Bye now.
Oh, and before I forget, where can folk reach us if they were so inclined to?
Well, you can actually reach us on Hey You Guys 80s at Facebook, Instagram, and on Twitter. But if you want to send us a mail, do heyyouguys80s@gmail.com. Send us in your recommendations. Send us in your thoughts about any of the episodes. Just literally talk to us. We'll have a one-sided talk with you on the podcast.
Yeah. We're nice folk. Get in touch. But no, cheers, guys. Bye-bye.
Cheers, guys. Bye now.
Hey, you